I am Fellblood, Reaper of All Blood, and this is my stream. It's a few minutes until midnight here, and I'm awake because I was cursed by God. So we're gonna do a little streaming. This is a dual stream coming to you on live on Twitch and YouTube. And I'm gonna try and keep the energy level up with some anecdotes and hot takes as we move along here. But first, a little bit of house cleaning. We've got... Well, I've taken on a lot of feedback over my stream this weekend, and I've made a lot of changes under the hood. We've changed the aspect ratio of the chat box, so it now is confined to the left third of the screen. Font should be a little smaller, and we've changed some of the opacity blending settings, so the text should be more legible. So all good there. I've also added 5 additional milliseconds to my voice delay, so it syncs a little bit better with my avatar's mouth. Let me know if you think it's too far ahead, or if I need to bring it back even further. I think it's looking a lot better now. And I've pushed a little bit more detail on the face tracking settings. So my mouth shapes should be a little more varied and a little bit more attuned to my vocal volume, as opposed to just open and close like that. Anyway, so that's what's happening on the technology side for the stream itself. And then also, we have enabled stream mode. Put my Twitch channel name in here. So hypothetically, I should get little voting boxes. Should make things a little bit more exciting when I'm hiking across country, and give you guys the option to torture me if you think I'm doing too well, or give me a little boost if you think I'm not doing good enough. I turned off like the ones that give you permanent benefits or permanent penalties, and some of the really nasty, awful stuff that can come up on the votes. And I also enabled the named elite mods, named elite mobs mod. Say that 10 times fast. Named elite mobs mod. Named elite mobs mod. Yeah, no, I'm not good. Look, I've got aphasia, all right? I'm lucky to be able to speak at all. That's part of why I'm doing this. It's just practice flapping me mouth parts to make noises at you. Anyway, I started a run earlier just because you have to be in a run to change the settings on the mod. But if I remember correctly, yeah, I'm standing just right here in the start spot. Ooh, magic missile. And accelerate. Okay, well, can't be all good. So now there's a countdown timer down here. And when the timer runs out, stuff pops up right here next to my face. And hey, look, I got the position right, so you can see it. And you push one of these buttons, and a random, and if you type a number in the Twitch chat, There's no YouTube integration. Sorry, YouTube viewers. But if you're in the Twitch chat, just type the number that you see there, and you'll get... And that votes for that effect. And if nobody votes, which is likely because nobody has arrived in chat yet, it'll just do one of these things randomly. I did not enable Cats Are Invulnerable, so if Kitty Cats is chosen, there is a significant chance the Kitty Cats will die. Y'all gotta take responsibility for your decisions. So you'll see there's enemies here that have random perks. And this mod is with us because it's actually a prerequisite for one of the features of the Twitch integration expansion mod, which adds more options to the vote list and puts options that are chosen on a cooldown. Oh no, kitties. Please be safe, kitties. But now that kitties has been chosen, this next vote will not... Kitties will not come up as an option on the next vote. You won't get the same thing twice in a row. So there's a mod that does that. But it has another feature that makes it so when a vote spawns a helpful mob, that mob is named after someone in Twitch chat. Oh, no, I'm on fire. I just splash around in blood and fire and acid and generally make a mess of myself. We're off to a flying start here. Whoops, wrong one. And I'm not a vampire yet, so I do not want to drink all this blood. It'll just make me sick. That's twice in a row. I've wasted misses. So these guys with the symbols over their heads are elite mobs. They have a random perk. Like that guy is on fire and immune to burning. Affords him no real protection from... I mean, that's a good thing that I want to collect before I leave. But I think... And that guy just deals extra damage. And apparently felt like murdering your neighbor there. So yeah, I'm still a new Noita player. I've never beaten the game. I've only found a handful of orbs. But I feel like I know enough about... irony. Yes, I know enough about what I'm doing that I can face a world with a little bit more wackiness in it. I've got the basic mechanics down. One-shot clips, but a fast reload on this one. Oh yeah. Shuffle the spells on my wands, I dare you. It's gonna have so many meaningful and far-reaching effects, since each of my wands has exactly one spell on it. Whoops, I was trying to pick that up, not kick it off the stand. Ooh, broken wand. That could come in handy. Clears a room like a stinger grenade half the time. This guy is immune to melee attacks. I guess I could have run up and kicked him, but I often forget that I can use kicks on people instead of objects. That might be something of a virtue. Oh no. I didn't need to use a bomb to get in, but I needed to use a bomb to get out, because physics is a lie. Whoops, wrong button. But it worked out. Wait, why does everybody here drenched in teleportatium? Did I miss a vote, or is this just a thing that happened? Teleporting melee immune berserk spider. Anyone else want some of this, huh? Got enough pea shooter for everyone. Those guys teleported all the way up there. What are they bathing in, do you suppose? No, what are our options? Please don't pour acid on me, kind sir. I would find that marvelously inconvenient. Ow, for crying out loud. Oh, yoink. Yeah, it must be one of the ones that I wounded earlier and then he teleported it. Oh, that's a good sign. That's a wand stand with no wand on it, which means somewhere around here there's a teleporting lunatic with a wand. Swear I already killed that guy. But the machine would care not for my human words. Oh no, please don't melt me. I have so much to live for. Well, that's going to explode. Well, that gentleman was surprisingly calm about this whole situation. Now, what are these guys? Stun effect. How's that rain taste, fool? Watched that dodge. Gold. Splish splash, I was taking a bath. How's that water taste, fool? Only marginally less terrible weapon. Ah. one of those fire rocks. Oh, so I've got a fire rock and a, do, 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 do. Dog. So, Berserk trumps friendly, I guess? That'll teach me to trust these guys. Ally that you can't rely on in a time of need is no ally at all. That's water, right? Yeah, that's water. This is the right-hand side of the upper area. So it's a battery hanging over a puddle of water. If I had a weapon strong enough to cut the chain, I could electrify the water, but I don't, so I won't. Get a bit of money there. Let me get off the ground. Wow, it sure is lucky for me that there's nobody here to burst into flames. Oh, the damage on these shooters is so bad. Oh no! I hit him with the minecart. Rest in peace, little buddy. what do we got? Basic polymorphine, berserkium, and invisibility. Saw that coming. Nope, that's a problem. Should blow off the wood there from the inside. Okay, and that's the edge of the top area on this. Got caught on that little lip right there. Add water, stir vigorously. It really bothers me that all-seeing doesn't work on magical darkness. Like, at best, that is most seeing. That's just some seeing. Oh no. So randomly, the ground will turn to death when I touch it. So I should try not to touch the ground for the next 30 seconds. And immediately fall in this. How do I know when 30 seconds is up? Mix the poison in. A little more there so I can, wait for the fire to go out so that I can get my gold. What's in this one? Empty bottle. Well, if I want an empty bottle, I could just turn these into empty bottles. So I'll keep that as a spare in case I break one. Why'd you shoot that guy? I'm not complaining, I just don't understand. Is it an accident that no cap is the opposite of all hat and no cattle, or is that literally the joke? And other things that you think while fighting a lava elemental. I've been thinking lately about the upsides of the fact that I will never have a schedule that's conducive to monetization. Because there is some silver lining on that cloud. I am, in many ways, much freer than a regular streamer is in what I can say. Simply because everything is on fire. Yeah, I didn't think about that explosion would also blow the walls out and expose me to whatever was in that unknown zone. But I can have takes on, like, the drama of the week without worrying about sacrificing my career. Partly because I have no career to sacrifice. But also, I'm small enough that by the time the people who are like just over tripping on the drama of the week find out that I said something, nobody will care anymore. Like, I'm really tempted to weigh in on, like, the pirate software OnlyFans drama that people are all in a tizzy over right now. In no small part because I can say whatever, and there are basically no consequences to that. People who watch streamers big enough to be involved in OnlyFans don't watch this shit. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. But before I weigh in on that, I kind of need to tell a story that explains my perspective. So, my clan never really got into World of Warcraft. But we did get really, really, really deep into SWAT Aftermath. Like, to the point that we've even played SWAT Rebirth a little bit, not nearly as hardcore, but just for the nostalgias. But the biggest problem with SWAT Rebirth is that Dota 2 has like a patch every 2 weeks, and they very frequently break total conversion mods. Like, they'll just make fundamental changes to the scripting system to fix a bug that's probably very interesting to people who actually play Dota 2, the game the engine is built around. But for people who are just using Dota 2 as a tool to play other games, the game is broken half the time for reasons that you do not care. That's not the story I set out to tell, but I have no attention span. So you're going to have to deal with some meandering digressions. Well, that's just rude. Wand in a box like that. I do like to explore around the edges of a zone first, because that way you've always got your back to a wall. You know what direction the threats are coming from. Too slow, cowboy. That's bad, though. Haha, box in your face. Anyway, the story is about SWAT Aftermath, because it's illustrative of my approach to self-improvement and team building and team. So when you play SWAT Aftermath, traditionally you have a designated shot caller. Somebody's in command. It's totally okay to foster discussion about how you want to approach the various challenges over the course of a mission, and obviously you should let people play the roles that they want or the roles that they need for advancement, not just the role that you personally feel most comfortable commanding. But there's usually a designated shot caller who can say, retreat, break over, pile them up. Just a moment to moment, we all need to be on the same page, and this person will pick a page. They don't need to be the tactically smartest person in the room, but they do need to have a good eye for which fights are winnable, which fights are losable. What are the best places to fight different types of mods? And just really, what is our current power level of our squad? And make decisions about we'll retreat from this fight for now. We'll kite this boss to this intersection. Just minute to minute, low-level tactical decisions. Because the last thing you want is to come around a corner and hit a big pack of ghouls, and have one person say fall back and one person say crackle. Because then half your squad is going to run and half your squad is going to fight, and the half of your squad that fights is going to die. So there's got to be a shot caller, and they've got to make a call. And often confidence is more important than knowledge. Just having the guts to make a call now when a call needs to be made now. Because oftentimes you're in a situation where both options are viable and your team will survive either way, so long as they are all on board with the same plan. Especially in the lower difficulties, your shot caller can make the less optimal decision 90% of the time and you can still win a run, just because you had a shot caller calling shots. A lot of the time you see these designated to cyborg or tactician players, but really anybody can do it. You can have the solo sniper do it. You do need to be a pretty good solo sniper to do that, because you kind of have to have your camera in two places at once. But it can be done. I've seen it done very effectively, but that does take a particular amount of talent and training and dedication to be able to do that. And that's the thing. It's like this is a pretty hardcore game. It takes talent and training to succeed, and you are staking a considerable amount of time. It's a roguelike in a lot of ways. Like, there's some meta progression elements. You want to master all of the classes and what all. Not so much with Rebirth, because they just kind of hand you the whole thing on the assumption that you have some old RCPD codes that are no longer valid from the original game, where you already unlocked all of the stuff, so they'll just let you have all the stuff, no questions asked. But back in the old days, people were fighting for their lives to try and unlock all of the content, you know? And you generally had time for one successful run in an evening. So if you botched your run, if you set aside 3 hours for a successful run, and your run died at 30 minutes, unless everybody's willing to stay half an hour late, that's it, you know? So it has a lot in common with hardcore WoW raiding, which makes sense. I mean, these both evolved from Warcraft 3 mods, so there's obviously going to be some overlap mechanically, but more than mechanically, there's just basic teamwork and team building and skill building questions at play. Players invest hundreds of hours getting better at these two games, and a lot of their self-worth and their group reputation can be invested in those skills that they've invested that time to build up. So, egos can be very fragile. It can be very difficult for people to admit fault, but at the same time, being able to admit fault is how you get good enough at this game to succeed. So, like the first skill you need to learn to play SWAT Aftermath is to lose gracefully. To lose with dignity. You say, I lost this match, and I'm going to reflect on what I personally did to contribute to this loss, instead of focusing on finding someone else to blame for my mistakes to protect my ego and to protect my reputation. And when you make a mistake that gets your squad wiped at 30 minutes or 2 hours, if right, like if you're going in to face the Nemesis Tyrant and Borg drops like cluster bombs in the wrong spot, and like CC's his own healer, and the whole run is lost. Like it can be tough for Borg to say, yeah, that was a misclick on my part, I screwed that up. I'm going to get better, and that's not going to happen again. That's the first skill that you have to master to begin mastering the other skills in that game, right? Is self-criticism. But it's also a very social thing. And one of the ways people fail at that skill is they often say, this person did a mistake that cost us the match, therefore I didn't make any mistakes that cost us the match. So everything that I'm doing is perfect, and it's this person that needs to improve so that we as a team can succeed. And the thing about that is, sometimes you say that and you are correct, you didn't make any mistakes this time. But all too often people find themselves in a position where it's like, I made a mistake and now somebody else is going, and then what needed to happen after that is somebody else needed to do a particular thing to correct my mistake, and they didn't do it. Therefore, this entire catastrophe is their fault because they were the last person who had a chance to stop it. And you need to have a group dynamic where both people can accept that criticism as valid. So the person who made the initial mistake and the person who could correct the mistake, right? Like, if you're playing TAC and you misposition your cadet, like you miskite and he gets a couple of hits on him that he shouldn't have, say he gets stunned and ankle broken, and the medic and the psychologist don't correct those issues in a timely manner to maintain the squad's cohesion, and you spread out and you get swamped. The TAC can say to the psychologist and the healer, hey, when my cadet gets hit, you need to do X, Y, and Z. And psychologists and healers should take that feedback and become more aware of healing not just party members, but also pets. But the TAC can't use that as a defense against his own need to improve. Right? Because, like, most of these examples aren't just, like, stuff that I'm making up in my head. These are, like, actual run-ending mistakes that I've made that I remember over a decade later. Right? I was that TAC. I was that weak, right? I can admit that. And I can admit that because you can tell from the way I'm telling these stories. I made those mistakes, and other people failed to fix my mistakes for me. But I took ownership of the original mistake. Like, I could go to my psych, I can go to my medic, and I can say, hey, please be more careful when you are healing and removing debuffs to ensure that my... Why did my wand just shoot at... Oh, no, these guys spit green lasers and it was behind me, so it looked like it came out of my wand. I was momentarily confused. But I also recognize that I made those original mistakes, and I improved my gameplay. I was more careful with my stun rockets. I was more careful with positioning my cadets. I can help other people get better at the game without stunting my own path to improvement. You know, that's something that's true not just in video games, but in life in general. It's often very easy to say, this person made a mistake, therefore I didn't make a mistake. To find a scapegoat to die for everyone else's sins. And that is suboptimal. You're playing life suboptimally if you're doing it. And especially for a person in a leadership position, this is a really essential skill. Because it's very easy to use a position of leadership to push the consequences of your mistakes downhill onto other team members. It's a really easy temptation to fall into, especially when your leadership position is kind of conditional on a reputation for competence. You know, you need people to trust you implicitly when you're a group organizer or a shot caller. Or even if they don't 100% understand why you're telling them to do something, you've got to do that thing. So that's background information for the story I want to tell. So one time, we were playing SWAT Aftermath, me and my gang. This was back when I had a 10-person, like 8 to 10 people for SWAT Aftermath squad 5 days a week. You know? Like now, we've got wives, kids, divorces, odd work hours, chronic health conditions. It's just not as easy to get the gang together in physical space, or even temporal space, the same way that it used to be. Already? But we basically had 2 different people who played shot caller on a regular basis. And we could switch off, right? So it was usually me or the bringer, my cousin. You may have heard him around, but probably not. It is exceedingly likely you haven't watched me when I'm playing other games. But he was one of our most dedicated players. And he's a really good shot caller, and he's really good mechanically. He was the first person in our team to unlock Watchmen and so on and so forth. That's significant because unlocking Watchmen requires you to complete a solo challenge. So you've got to play your multiplayer game so much that it's also your single player. You've got to be sharpening your skills in your off time. I think it's time to go down. Ducks. Okay. Thank you for the ducks. Well, that didn't. What do we got here? Sea of alcohol. Okay. Bank this for later. Ugh, these frames are really bad. There's not much else I can do with these. Like, this refire is useless because there's not enough mana capacity or mana recharge to make use of it. Oh, I should have thrown the glitter bombs in there first. Oh well. Teleportitis dodge. That seems bad, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Just try not to get close enough to any projectiles to set it off. Oh, thanks for the shield. I really appreciate it. Wow, it double casts nothing with a fire trail. All modifiers and no projectile. enough jetpack. Story time will resume when I am not being pounded by packs of these flying gobblers. Thanks. I didn't realize it was, Okay, so I teleport dodge even when I'm grazing past explosives that don't hurt me on impact. That's a good thing to remember. In general, I've got to graze less because it triggers my teleport dodge. I gotta cut myself a wider margin of error. Oh. Come on. All right. So. Sometimes I would be the shot caller, and sometimes Debringer would be the shot caller, and that was fine. It's a good frame for the spell that I'm going to want eventually. So in this particular run, I was calling the shots. He wasn't. And this is kind of the run that it cost me my position as a shot caller. From then forward, I was only calling shots when he was not available as part of our squad. So we spawned southwest and did a counterclockwise scout rotation. Checked 2 reactors, both came up severe. So we were doing, and we weren't high enough level to push a severe reactor, so we just kept rotating. Turned north at the park, headed up, coming past L Street. L Street probably deserves some special explanation for the non-SWAT players. L Street is a great place to go if you want to die, because it's a street that's shaped like an L. and it has no intersections in the middle of it, really. So it's got lots of little dead-end alleys coming off the side, and rooms on either side that serve as spawn rooms for zombies, spiders, and other nasties. But there's a corner right in the middle of it. Well, 2/3 of the way down it, there's a 90-degree bend in it. It's shaped like a backwards L laying on its block. So like picture a Tetris block, zoop, zoop. This shaped like this. And we were coming in on the east end. We'll pass to the east end of it, and Solo Sniper announces that he's in L Street, and he's located a bunch of bats and cells, which we are immediately greedy for, because we're looking for bats and cells to be able to hit those reactors, at least eventually. So I make the call. Oh, anti-gravity, that's really annoying. Okay, thanks. Appreciate it. Just have all of my most damaging bullets fly up into the sky. That's super helpful. So I make the call that we're going to go down L Street. This was the first in a series of mistakes that we made. So because zombies are constantly spawning all over the map and flocking towards you from every direction, it's important to balance staying in motion with inflicting enough damage on the horde of zombies following you, which is why you walk big circles across the map, around the perimeter of the map, shooting at the zombies following you, but moving fast enough that as the zombies homing in on you from all over the map gather, they tend to merge into the horde following you rather than pincering you from two sides. You want to make sure that there's relatively small numbers of zombies in front of you that you can shoot and knock down, so that when they reanimate, you've already walked to the other side of them and they just become part of the horde following you. And you can just keep inching along to stay ahead of them. Alright, so you're constantly shooting back into the horde behind you and shooting the zombies that are blocking your path forward to run away from the horde, with the objective of leveling up and getting enough power that you can actually pile your whole tail up and get a huge bucket of XP all at once. Like that's the early game for SWAT after. So mistake number one, I took a risky maneuver too soon, headed into L Street. And since it's such a long, angular street, you tend to get a lot of zombies trickle in the other end of the street, where you can't avoid them if things go sideways. Oh, man, that's slow. That was not gonna hit me, but okay. Now see it's on cooldown. So we headed into L Street too early, with the intention of making a piling camp outside of this building where Solo Snipe was bunkered down. Just long enough to grab these cells of bats, and then we were going to head north out of L Street, check some more reactors, and then continue circling counterclockwise back to the Severes that we skipped before. That was the plan. So that plan lasted about halfway out of the intersection into L Street itself. A big spawn from Graveyard hit the north side of the intersection as we were coming out the left side of the intersection. And we were already hugging north corner more than we should have been. Like, our formation was really loose. Because some people were advancing across the intersection in bigger steps than others. Because, like, Warcraft 3 characters only auto-attack when they're stationary. They don't auto-attack while they're moving. League of Legends and Dota players, you kind of get this, like, your ranged auto-attack only goes when you're stationary. You can't move and attack at the same time. There's some nuance to it, like there's a certain point in your attack animation where you can move and it won't actually cancel your attack, so that you can step shoot, step shoot, step shoot as you're kiting the horde. And some people take bigger steps than others. You know, just depending on class, playstyle, and stuff. But your shot caller needs to be making sure that everybody's moving at approximately the same average speed, even if nobody is moving at the same speed at any given particular moment. It's got to average out to the group staying together, and I wasn't doing that adequately. So our formation had gotten really loose crossing this intersection. And we needed to make sure that our rear guard were up with the group. Because like your squad tends to move in kind of a loose line as they're heading north, with the people who are good at shooting back into the horde lingering toward the back of the squad, and the people who are good at smashing through straggling zombies up ahead, shooting forward into the zombies up ahead, and your support players kind of in the center of the group so that they can support both the vanguard and the rear guard. And the amount of distance that the vanguard and rear guard are able to orbit around that central core can vary depending on the circumstances and what kind of maneuver you're taking at a particular intersection. So I made the call that we were going to turn down this street, which required us to squish the squad together. And to buy extra time for that, I positioned the vanguard and the support squad on the northwest corner of the intersection, which was a mistake, because you don't want to be near corners, because corners create blind spots if there's a corner you want somebody, and you're going to stay near that corner, you want somebody positioned, like say this is a corner of a building, right? You can't see what's over here when you're down here. So you want to have, when you come around a corner, you want to be over here, so you're not coming around a corner, have a zombie immediately eat your face. And then if somebody is going to corner close, you want to have somebody already out here. It's like you have the lead element of your squad come over here, and then position over here. So the rest of your squad can come around the corner, knowing that there's no zombie there. But we were all basically stacked up against the west side of the street, and then immediately headed. So like if this here is an intersection, right? And we're coming up, we're on this side of the street. We come up and we tuck right in here. Do you mind? I'm trying to make an example here. How suspicious. Well, there's 18% of my starting health. But we've got a water boiled rock and a snow potion. And an egg. I'm just gonna throw the egg. And a light source. Oh, hey, it's an even worse version of that wand that I threw away. So this is a flying start right here. Polymorph into Hellworm. Get Depression. Gold Rush. Cage Fight. Well, I know I'm voting 3. Alright, so I got Fire Rock and Lightning Rock. And I should have jumped forward. See, self-criticism in action. Should have been a jump forward. Excuse me, sir. Someone seems to have left your brewing keg on... Well, it's tapped, so this is a tapped keg. Inside a wall on top of a poison rock. Snow plus fire is water, right? Either way, I've got enough water to... You are not my son. Alright, so that was bad. We're off to a very rough start here, folks. But got some gold. Wow. Alright. No, we don't. We have no gold. Anyway, so this big squad comes north from Graveyard, hits us at the east end of L Street. Aftermath players know what that means, and I hope I've explained it well enough that other people know what that means. So I ordered a fallback into L Street. Because again, I'm greeting for those loots that I know are in there because our scout called them out. So that was a bad call, but it probably wouldn't have ended the run on its own. Except I made a second worse call, which was, no way, stay, we can hold them here. So then I'm in a position where my vanguard is halfway to the entrance to the house, where the loot is. My rear guard is trying to move away from the zombies that are up in their grill, and my my support team is like halfway in between them and spread a little thinner than they should be. Like, nobody's maneuvers are ever perfect, and these were especially imperfect. That's just a jump scare, right? I don't actually have to fight that giant wizard. Okay. But then I've just issued two contradictory orders. I've said run, and then I've said come back and fight. And it takes every squad member a different number of milliseconds to abort what they're currently doing and switch to this new command. And basically, by the time we get our fire lines re-established, we've already taken some damage and debuffs. And in particular, our medic is disabled. And very quickly we have multiple dead squad members. And like that hits early in the game, before you've got a significant amount of gold and enough levels on your support team that they can counter the resurrection. Because like this is a game with res sickness, right? You get revived. You suffer a lot of serious penalties for a significant period of time. Like, a high-level squad can have a party member go down, and if you revive them quickly enough, they have abilities that can offset some of those drawbacks. But generally, especially early in a run, if you have a party member go down, the whole party is going to wipe trying to get them back up. Which is basically what happened there. Right? We lost enough squad members that we were no longer able to farm effectively, so we couldn't get the resources that we needed in order to revive those team members. You know, there's no power, there's no ABMs. So you've got to get all your revives from the police lab. And there's just not enough revives, and the people who are revived are not full power squad members. They're additional liabilities that we have to protect until their res sickness wears off. So I'm not going to say we wiped the entire party, like in the span of 30 seconds, but in the span of 10, the run was irreparably scrapped. So everything that happened after that was an attempt to correct my mistake. And as a group, we still had productive, like, after-match discussion as to how each of the various roles can get better at dealing with disasters through the mistakes that were made there and the lessons that were learned. But the fact is, if I hadn't already scrubbed the run, none of them would have been in a position to make those other mistakes. And part of this comes back to, as a leader, you have to accept that none of your soldiers are perfect, right? Like, a more highly skilled team, even on that difficulty level, might have been able to pivot that quickly between retreat and counterattack. But that is not the way that we drilled for that scenario. That is not the way that we normally handled that scenario. We had an established protocol for what to do, which is make a choice and stick with it. And I made a choice and then I second-guessed myself. Oh, hey, more acid. I love this. And I'm gonna die. Alright, fine, I'm going down. I'm going down. Yeesh. Some people. Get those heals. Break this thing mostly because I can, and they wouldn't have hidden it if I wasn't supposed to find it, right? That's logic. Odd firebolt. What's the difference between a firebolt and an odd firebolt? Slime near you turns into fungal creatures. Projectiles that fly into a sector behind you disappear. Enemies near me take damage. You know, I'm gonna try this one. I've never done this one. It sounds like fun. Just don't shoot this into fire and I should be fine, right? Oh look, fire! So that's kind of an example of my philosophy toward group games and leadership. It's like everybody needs to be able to take accountability for their own mistakes instead of worrying about, well, if so-and-so had done this, it would have fixed my mistake. If such and such had done that, it would have... I wouldn't have been in a position to make that mistake in the first place if we'd done things the normal way. You got to... You've got to plan for the contingency that everything goes according to plan, and you've got to plan for the contingency that things that go off the rails. Because a consistent player will consistently be able to deliver on the standard play pattern, but will also be able to consistently adapt when someone else makes a mistake and correct it. And as a team, you've got to work together to make everybody their best at both of those situations. A wand that could do anything. Always casts 5 random spells and then does another thing. Joke's on you, it doesn't have enough mana to cast all 5 of these spells. Aha! You thought that you were the damage, but I have the death touch. And now I have a shotgun that shoots firebolts. This is good. So, with that perspective in mind, you know, it's like, as a leader, as the person who saved the run, as a person who made a minor mistake, as a person who made a major mistake, it's to everybody's advantage if they can acknowledge their own mistakes, even if they aren't the only person who made mistakes. And a leader in particular has a responsibility to help their squad members maintain that objectivity. Which is kind of a problem, because it's even harder for leaders often, by the nature of wanting to save face. Because face is more valuable when you're in a leadership position. Alright. Well, we've got to stay vigilant against that. Everybody's got to be accountable to each other and be accountable to their leaders, but most importantly, you've got to be accountable to yourself. So, with the OnlyFans situation, you had people doing hardcore WoW, where if a character dies, not only can they not be revived, they're permadead, right? Doing level 60 dungeons. So if anybody dies, they've got to re-level a new character all the way up from level 1 to 60 in World of Warcraft, which is a form of torture that violates the Geneva Convention. I don't know why anyone would subject themselves to that form of suffering once, let alone a second time. Like, I got a character to level 40 in WoW, and I was just done with that shit, okay? It never hooked me. You know, it's just... Every time I interacted with one of the numerous time sinks that Blizzard has wired into that game to ensure that you can't get anywhere in a reasonable amount of time, you know, just like every time I took one of their painfully slow fast travel mechanics, it was just like, this is a person deliberately wasting my time in order to get me to pay more money to give them more of my time. And I just like... It feels gross. I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. I don't do it. Like, if you enjoy playing World of Warcraft, you know what? Let your freak flag fly, my friend. You do you, and don't let anybody tell you to be somebody you're not. But for me, no, just absolute pain. Wow, that is honestly worse somehow. Because it has 60 mana capacity. What godless heathen decided that wands should be able to spawn with a mana capacity that low? Holy Carpenter. All liquids you touch turn to alcohol. Oh no! Oh no! I was trying to scoop up some water before touching the liquid, and I ended up breaking the bottle, so now I have no water instead of more water. My shotgun's faster than your shotgun. My shotgun's better than yours. Oh, apparently he was already dead. So, I'm not a popular enough streamer to get into OnlyFans, and I have no intention of ever playing on any hardcore WoW server. So, in a lot of ways, I have no horse in this race. But that's part of the reason that you should listen to me. Because I can tell you the truth that certain people don't want you to hear. Because I have nothing to lose. I'm never going to sit at the cool kids table anyway. I'm not committing social or career suicide by spouting off hot takes on this, because honestly, nobody cares what I think, and that's incredibly liberating. I might be cringe, but I am free. Come on, recharge, damn you. Alright. Water is more important than invisibility. Look, drinking invisibility will actually make you pretty sick. This is another reason why all my MMO guilds are IRL friends and family only. Those relationships have lasted decades and are more valuable to me than any amount of internet drama. So it's much easier for me to behave honorably in the company of people I actually know. If I try and worry what strangers think about me, I'll go nuts. So I don't worry about what strangers think about me. You don't like my hot take? Fuck you. All right? Putting that out there before we even get to the hot take. You are now Schrodinger's own a hole. You don't even know if you're fucked yet. Learning some things we'd rather not know about Schrodinger today. Oh, just turn the whole world to booze, why don't you? That's... Okay, maybe I can be a little bit more respectful in this discourse. Stir and loot. So anyway, a bunch of high-profile streamers with everything to lose go into a level 60 hardcore WoW ring. They have a shot color, they have sports, they have AoE stuns. A lot of the same factors as this incident from a decade ago that it reminded me so much of. Where I made a bad call team played imperfectly, and we lost. Lost enough squad members that the run was aborted. Without going into too much detail, their shot caller made some questionable decisions that would not normally cost them the run, but would come back to haunt them later. They skipped some mobs that were optional in strict defiance of Belisarius, who is the ancient Roman general that taught the world why you never, ever, ever leave the enemy behind you. If Belisarius met anyone and then went back to meet that person again later, the person that he met the second time was either a loyal subject of the Roman Empire or a corpse. And he very frequently gave people the option of which one they wanted to be. But he made it clear, I am not leaving this place while you are my enemy. You're either going to be an ally or a uncomfortably graphic object lesson in why people do not want to be my enemies. Now, this is not actually something that you can do in SWAT Aftermath. You're constantly being pursued for 90% of the game. You are running away from an enemy that is slower than you, but far deadlier. So there are exceptions to Belisarius' maxim. But in this case, these mobs appear to have been skipped just out of a desire to... Oh man, I got the teleport wizard and then I died trying to loot his body. Greed, the vice of every gamer. Every gamer greeds, and every gamer pays the price. Which is exactly what happened here. They wanted to get more run in less time. They greeded, they skipped those trash mobs. Now, you can make a compelling argument that this is Blizzard's fault for putting skippable trash mobs in the dungeon in the first place. But that's why your shot caller needs to make decisions that compensate for those mistakes. Like, two people can be wrong, is the moral of a lot of my stories. Just because somebody is wrong doesn't mean that the person opposing them is right. It's a very dangerous fallacy, actually, which underpins a lot of the things that are wrong in our world today. I don't have to prove myself right, I just have to prove the other guy wrong, and then people will vote for me. But this is not a time to rant about why the first past the post ballot creates a statistically inevitable nightmare and should be killed, because honestly, if you want to hear me rant about ballot reform, I've done that on this show enough times. You can just look it up. I'm not wrong about ballot reform, but it's off topic too far, and I need to condense this story more than I already have. So I need to correct for my past mistakes Hopefully without making more mistakes. That's the game we call life. Anyway, so they skip these mobs. Not a mistake in and of itself. It is a calculated risk. But that risk does close off certain options. You're betting that a certain thing won't happen. Okay, so this is green sparkly stuff. Tells me where the greed is happening, right? Oh no, I can't stand here and do the thing because of the curse. Curse you, curse. Dang, that's a lot of damage. Oh, I'm still cursed. Come on, man. That's the cursiest curse ever. Also, if you don't like Paper Mario, we're not friends. Well, this is bad. Nope, that's not what I was trying to do. But it might be better than what I was trying to do. Did you die? Okay. There, see, I had the curse of greed, but I was greeding on that heart instead of focusing on dealing with my curse of greed, and I got sidetracked. That put me in a position that didn't kill me immediately, but it did put me in a position where I did eventually die. Whee! The thing is, you can skip that side room of mobs on the assumption that nothing else goes wrong. But if anything else goes wrong, you'll be in real trouble. It's an Apollo 13 reference. The movie, not the... Though I think Walter Cronkite did actually say that about Apollo 13. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's... how it goes. And that's the way it works. And that is a Walter Cronkite. Explosion immune lava elemental guarding a heart. Going after that heart is not a mistake, but going after it correctly is important.
have it.
That's another mistake, but it's not going to cost me the game, at least not by itself. I want to not do that again, but I'm not dead yet. So as they go deeper into the dungeon, they're moving in on a boss room, and several different players make significant misplays, and they end up with more players aggroed at the same time than they should. This is another mistake. It does not end the run immediately, but it sets them up for further mistakes that will cause further disasters. There's a saying in Navy flight, don't be afraid to break the chain of mistakes that leads to a disaster. It's the one time when you actually want to be the weak link. So the shot caller makes a call. He says, fall back and reset. So the squad starts falling back to reset the aggro, clean up these ads, and then re-enter the boss room. But then the shot caller has a change of heart. He says, actually, we can take them. And he orders the team to re-engage. And some of the team members re-engage faster than others because, well, they're human beings with different reaction times. They are not uniform. Does ship not drop gold? That's all the range I get on my missiles. Oh, I thought you were my brother. It turns out you're just a stinky wizard. Ah. But thus far in the story, nothing is weird or interesting, right? Runs botched, people play imperfectly, shot callers second-guess themselves out loud, and cause unnecessary deaths which scrub a run. Right? That happens to everybody. It's what happens after that, where the story actually becomes worth telling. Because these players could all improve. None of them are perfect. None of them are the unstoppable wizard god of gaming. And several people made mistakes, which put other people in positions where they had the opportunity to make mistakes. Now, the shot caller puts forth the argument that if one of their squad members had played more perfectly, they would have won the fight on the re-engage. If their reaction time had been faster, if their spell selection had been smarter, if they'd stepped on the other ant when time traveling, the weather in Tokyo that day would have been different. All for the want of a horseshoe nail. Oh, do I have to explain all for the want of a horseshoe nail? Like, is that a thing people who are alive in this century know about? I'm going to, just in case, so we're all on the same page. So, for the want of a nail, the horseshoe was lost. For the want of a horseshoe, the horse was lost. For the want of a horse, the messenger was lost. For the loss of a messenger, the message was lost. For the want of the message, the battle was lost. For the loss of the battle, the war was lost. All for the want of a horseshoe nail. That's a cute little poem, but it also illustrates sort of one of the classical fallacies of military leadership. If you should never put yourself in a position where a single horseshoe nail can cost you the entire war. That's how Japan lost in the Pacific, is so many of their plans were designed so that so long as everybody does exactly what they're supposed to, exactly when they're supposed to, we will win an absolutely crushing victory. But the moment that absolutely anything goes wrong, the whole thing comes down like a house of cards. And your battle strategy should never resemble a house of cards, because there's always going to be somebody trying to knock down your house of cards in a battle. Your subordinates are going to be imperfect, your enemies are going to be creative, your weapons are going to malfunction, somebody's going to put one too few nails in a horseshoe, somebody's going to intercept your messenger. You've got to have backups for your backups for your backups. So, you could point to any person in that chain of mistakes, the people who overpulled, the people who didn't communicate effectively about which of them was going to pull which mobs win, the shot caller who second-guessed his call, the people who agreed to just avoid fighting those mobs that... Oh, by the way, so when they're retreating, they end up aggroing the additional mobs that they skipped earlier, which contributes to the disaster. Again, if they'd retreated, they probably could have broken over the skipped mobs and gotten out safely. If they'd retreated in better order, they probably could have bypassed those mobs a second time, just like the first time. And if they'd stood and fought, if the crowd control executed their gameplay perfectly, maybe they could have reset the encounter without having to retreat. But the thing is, once you say retreat, and your CC is retreating instead of fighting, you don't tell your CC, okay, actually, no, we are going to fight this, and expect them to perform perfectly. That's, like, human brains have finite bandwidth. You can get better at switching between different kinds of thinking. You can think more efficiently. But there is an upper limit, especially when it's not the scenario that was trained for. People don't work that way. Now, if the crowd control had been an insane wizard god who could sorry, I was trying not to set myself on fire there. Who could turn the tide of that battle by knowing exactly what spell to cast at exactly the right moment, then Stand would have worked. And you know, if they'd stood, they might have won the fight. If they'd retreated, they probably wouldn't have lost anybody. They'd have reset the encounter and be able to go back in 5 minutes. But if half of your squad retreats and half of your squad stands and fight, the people who stay to fight die. That's normal and expected. So then after all of these mistakes were made, that cumulatively created a chain reaction that led to the loss of the battle. When it's time for people to take accountability, reflect on their mistakes, and improve as players, another all too familiar pattern emerges, which is people valuing coping and saving face above improvement and honest communication. And that's where you get dropped. Now, a good guild leader will shut this shit down. I don't care whose fault it is, I just don't want it to happen again. So everybody who was any part on that chain needs to reflect on their actions and do better next time so this doesn't happen again. But human brains are not objective like that. Especially not when dealing with the pressure of a leadership position. Too often we want a sacrificial lamb to take all of the blame so everyone else can remain blameless. Especially when there's celebrities who live and die on saving face. And there's leaderships who need to maintain the respect of followers who are maybe not as self-aware. And that's when things get ugly. That's when this stops being a fun story. You know, because haha, they played hardcore WoW, they played with fire, and they got burned. That's fine. You know, they knew the risk that they were taking when they played hardcore WoW. Your punishment is that you have to play more hardcore WoW. Which, I mean, seems fitting. Like Rock Lee, if I can't do 10,000 squats, I have to punch this tree 10,000 times. And if I collapse before I punch this tree the 10,000th time, I have to jump rope 10,000 times. You know? It's all a self-imposed challenge. Nobody's making these people play hardcore WoW. This is self-inflicted suffering for the entertainment of the public. Much like playing Noita with the votes turned on. Nobody made me do that. I did it because I thought it would be fun. And also, I thought it might be entertaining for you all. Nothing inherently wrong with that, but you should be self-aware enough to be aware that that's what you're doing. This is public self-flagellation for the gratification of internet strangers who may or may not even care. And thinking about whether they care is the path to madness. So I won't be doing that. But these are much more popular streamers than me, and they think about whether you all care what they're doing for a living. They may or may not be cringe, but they are not free. And they need to save face not just in the eyes of their fellow guild members and followers, but also in the eyes of their audiences, many of which do believe that their streamer is a perfect godlike being who can do no wrong, and they are in absolutely no position to want to disabuse their cult-like followers of those grandiose notions. So there won't be one person who accepts responsibility and everyone else reflects on their actions and tries to get better. There will be one person who is publicly crucified for the sins of the group. A sort of messiah figure, if you will. A scapegoat. And of course the scapegoat is a type to the messiah, if you know your prophecies. Yeah, I bet you guys thought that types were about Japanese anime girls, but no, they actually have a lot of theological precedent. Come out here. I have a really weak wand that I need to use on your face. It's other terrible pickup lines. Oh, man. Oh, that's way funnier to me than it should be. I'm probably a bad person. I'm definitely a bad person. I'm an evil, evil ghost. So evil. Such evil, much badness. So anyway, in this particular situation, the crowd control guy, it was decided, would die for the sins of the group as a whole, so everyone else can save face in the eyes of their Twitch followers. He was expected to ritually humiliate himself in public and admit fault and say that nobody else did anything wrong. And he did basically all of those except the last one. But the fact is, everything else was just window dressing to sell that last one, that claim that nobody else made any mistakes. It was all me acting wrongly alone that resulted in this accident. So-and-so didn't die because they are an imperfect WoW player. So-and-so died because the crowd control didn't cover their retreat and re-engagement effectively. And in this particular case, crowd control wizard was played by Pirate Software. Like, hey, if you just hit the ice slows at exactly the right time, on exactly the right targets in exactly the right order, we could have won that fight on the re-engage even after our formation was scattered by the retreat. And the thing is, that's probably true. But it also doesn't mean anything relevant to the question. Because that doesn't mean nobody else made mistakes. That doesn't mean nobody else played imperfectly. Two people can be wrong at the same time. So you've got basically two groups of people who need one person to accept sole blame for the entire fiasco. You've got people who just aren't mature enough to handle the possibility of their own failure. which is sad. And then you've got people who know that they did wrong, but need to publicly deny that they made any mistakes in order to save face in the eyes of their desperately immature viewership. If you are the kind of person who could ever find yourself in either of these groups of people, don't watch this show. You're not going to have a good time in either. I demand a certain level of basic emotional maturity from my viewers, just with the very nature of the topics that I discuss here. And you, brother, if you can't handle the truth, you're getting it anyway. So grow up or get out. I'm going to drop some hot takes about ballot reform and why your favorite political party is a bunch of shitty con artists. And that's going to happen regardless of which political party you like, because they're all a bunch of shitty con artists. Stop being loyal to political institutions and start exploiting both parties to advance the interests of the people. The parties are not people. They don't have feelings. You can't betray them. If the party ceases to serve the interests of the people it was created to help, there is no reason to keep it on life support. Corporations and political parties don't have feelings. They barely even have goals. They just do what they do. And we can't blame the parties for their failings any more than you can blame a car that runs people over. Like, unless you've built an incredibly shitty car, it shouldn't run people over without a driver being involved. There is an inherent risk to selling a car that some people are going to drive it badly. And when a person drives a car badly, note that automobile safety commissions want that car to be made safer to drive, in addition to wanting that driver to lose their license to drive cars because they can't drive a car safely. Because at the end of the day, our roads need to be accessible to the majority of people. There's a lot of people who really shouldn't be trying to drive a car, who need to drive cars on a regular basis, just in order to survive. I'm one of them. I shouldn't drive a car. There's a lot medically wrong with me that should cost me my license. That's not gonna happen. They're gonna keep letting me drive, and I'm going to keep driving because I need to drive to survive. I don't have a lot of responsibilities, but I have enough responsibilities where I need to drive to live. Dead frog. Okay. What do we got here? Whiskey, water, concentrated mana. No light source. I never get over here when I actually have a light source, but I haven't found any ones, so there could be something. I Like, if you've ever voted for somebody because of their political party affiliation and not because you had any reasonable expectation that they might actually do something that you wanted them to do while in office, that's a mistake that you've made. And it hasn't cost us our country yet, but you're counting on other people to play more perfectly to compensate for your mistakes. And you should have the self-awareness to recognize that mistake and be a better person in the future. Yeah, humility's a lot harder when I'm asking you to do it instead of some random stranger you've never met, isn't it? What happens if I pour whiskey into concentrated mana? Also, does concentrated mana turn water into... I may have made a terrible mistake. Because now I can't even boil that, can I? Let's test that theory. Hey, water, if I put concentrated mana in you, what happens? Yeah, I can turn water into concentrated mana. That's, neat. A friendly ghost who clears my negative status effects. I would just as soon not need that. But it would be really handy to have if I was to set myself on fire in the next 30 seconds. I'm gonna take care of something real quick. I will be right back. I'm gonna fix myself a little something to drink before I pop back down. Ounces of hot water, 3 ounces of hot water, and 3 ounces of fresh juice. Sodium sterile white. When is it always showing what there are months? 6, 9. Alright, I have returned with a beverage. Right. I'm at the east end right now. I mean, the west end. I'm at the left side. Aphasia. It sucks. Take care of your brain. You don't get a spare. That was a waste of time. Okay, so this doesn't. Yep, them sure is some words right there, Eve. There can't just be no wands in this whole zone. No wands, no treasure, no hearts. There's gotta be something that I missed somewhere. There's a heart. Down there in that box. There's an item. An attempt was made. Nice try, dude. Come on. Quit hiding behind that corpse and die. Are these good summons or bad summons? I don't know these names. That doesn't explain anything. Lava potion. Well, doesn't look like I'm gonna find a light source in here. Ah, causes damage. And explodes in a puddle of mud and swamp. Oh, and straight up excrement. Yes, this is what I wanted. Where's the one of these that was filled with water? So I'm gonna do a thing. That just dissolved a metal minecart. Oh, there must have been a drop of concentrated mana in the bottom because my whole bottle turned into concentrated mana, didn't it? Oh, that's so freaking annoying. Alright, empty the bottle, take a sip. Foaming. Bottle with water. Don't accidentally turn it into mana. Alright, so I encountered a shop here. Did I get a shop instead of any actual wands on this floor? Is it... That's not how it works, is it? You know what's amazing is that playing Kerbal Space Program actually prepared me a lot for this game. I understand a lot more about how to use thrust efficiently in small batches like this. There. Now if I come up the other way, I'll have a bridge ready across the lava. Well, let me know if I should retranslate and read the tablets every time. You know, so some people like to hear me read them, and some people think it's a waste of time. Let me know what you think. Oh no, you shuffled all of the no spells in my wands. Truly, I am. This is the worst. Alright, let's see what we got for perks. You know what? Let's try it. Maybe it's not as bad as it sounds. Okay. SMG, rock cutter, bomb carrier. Abomination. Oh, is that a non-shuffler? Extra handy. Well, this is a flying start, isn't it? There's electricity in here. Is there any more satisfying than slurping the foam off of a drink that's too hot to drink directly? It's just one of life's simple pleasures. It's a lot of good parts and a lot of like digging power. Okay, so the little mushroom guys are friendly. So I feel like this perk is not terribly useful on its own, but in conjunction with the right other perks, it might turn into something cool. Not electricity, graves. Dudes be haunted, yo. Biggie McHoleface. Sounds like a guy at a pub that you really don't want to interact with. You want to step to that guy over there, that's Biggie McHoleface. I was hoping it would fall on him. Oh, good. Yeah, guy, I don't know if you should have dropped lava on that dude who explodes when he gets dipped in lava. That probably wasn't your brightest moment. Oh good, we put the fire out. Now we just need to clean up the radium. Come on. Oh, there's the greed again, gonna get me killed. That's actually a very persuasive argument. So close. Actually, does this thing slice? Oh, I got 3 more of these? I thought I was out. I got cocky after I grazed the bullet right before that one. If you burn to death in that lava, do I get money? Don't pour lava while falling downwards, you fool. Ah, stop it! You just said not to do that and you did it anyway. Okay, yes, that won't dig this any deeper. Forget that bodies block projectiles, because you can walk through them. That was rather more dynamite than that really required. They exploded my little mushroom guy and I died in the blast. Probably wasn't winning that fight anyway, but that's extra frustrating. tank is already empty, huh? Hey dude, come over here. I want to show you a trick. No, nope, no, no, nope, 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 nope. Stir, stir. Alright, well, I'll come down there this way and kill you. I don't care. Yeah, you can't kill me, there's no one in the way. I have any nearby regular explosives? Not the direction I was trying to dodge. Well. It's looking pretty bad. I misjudged that distance very badly. I can accept that. Somebody blew up that swamp wizard. Did you see that? There we go. Randomize my wand. Oh, that's a good one too. Let's see. I see, said the blind man, the lame duck. Ah, you sneaky little punks. Always hiding under corpses that I'm trying to loot. At first it was water, but then it was poisonous slime. Empty out this jar. Back water. That doesn't seem very useful. I didn't listen. Oh. Someday, I will learn from my mistakes. that was a bad plan, and I have no idea why I'm still alive. I think that potion was broken. Just a hunch, though. I backpedaled right into that guy. I should have cleaned him up earlier. Oh, no, man. Oh, my back's starting to bother me. Stop soon. The goal here is to push my limits in order to discover my limits. Alright, I got a burning rock. Now I need a light source. Okay, that's probably going to be a problem later. Oh, good. I've been cursed by a swamp lizard. That's how I like to start my day. Oh, that doesn't look safe. Oh, lava elemental. Shotgun man. No. It's time to stop. I'm losing focus. It hurts too much. But thank you so much for taking